Hello, I'm Corey Ann Haydu. I'm the author of Ever Cursed, and this is 4 Reasons to be Riveted by Ever Cursed. The first reason to be riveted is that Ever Cursed is a fairy tale, and it isn't an adapted fairy tale or a reimagined kind of fairy tale classic Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. This is an entirely original fairy tale, but it borrows a lot from the typical tropes and themes and even settings and characters that you tend to see over and over in fairy tales, things like princesses and witches and kings and castles and moats and feasts. All those sort of ideas appear in the pages of Ever Cursed, but imagined in a new way and sort of used for my own purposes to delve into different ideas that I think fairy tales lend themselves incredibly well to begin with. Things like gender and power and the abuse of power and just the dynamics that would take place in a place like a kingdom. So that is reason number 1. Reason number 2 to be riveted is that Ever Cursed has 2 points of view. It is told in alternating chapters between Princess Jane, who is the eldest daughter in the royal family, and all of the daughters as well as their mother, have been cursed. A spell has been put upon them 5 years ago, and they're suddenly possibly able to break that spell. So they're fighting to break these terrible spells that have been placed upon them. And the other perspective was an unexpected one for me. I thought that the book was entirely Princess Jane's story, but it turned out as I was writing it that I realized I needed the perspective of Regan, the young witch who cast the spell upon Princess Jane and her sisters and her mother. So it's not a story with villains and heroes exactly. It's about how we're all both of those things, I think. And both of these girls have heroic moments and have villainous moments and have everything in between. So it's an interesting dynamic and an unexpected surprise even to me, the author. Reason number 3 to be riveted is the magic. Ever Cursed features a lot of magic. My favorite magical detail that I included and just loved writing and visualizing in my head is that the witches in the kingdom of Ever have an unusual punishment when they cast a spell, and that is that for every spell they cast, a skirt is permanently affixed to their body, and this skirt sort of heft and weight corresponds to how big and impactful and powerful and meaningful the spell that they cast was. So a really huge spell that upends everything and changes lives and requires really big, heavy magic, you are given permanently a heavy scarf made out of wool or burlap that you will have to carry around forever. And a more frivolous spell, a lighter spell, a simpler, easier spell, you would have a corresponding fabric of linen or cotton or something sheer and breezy and easy to carry with you. And it creates an interesting dynamic in the world because it means that anyone that looks at these witches can really get a sense of the type of magic they've been using. Is it powerful and dangerous and huge magic that can really change the world, or is this a witch that sort of does small spells that are no big deal? And reason number 4 to be riveted by Ever Cursed is a little bit of what I mentioned when I talked about fairy tales, and that is that this is a book that really dives into power dynamics. The 2 things that interest me most as a writer often are ideas of perfection and ideas of power. And I think both of these things are present on the pages here, but particularly it's a book about power, about hubris, about a king who seems to be really beloved, but perhaps isn't quite who he seems to be to some people. How someone in power can be beloved by one group and hated by another, and what is the truth of their power within that. And just how power shapes the worlds we live in and how it shapes this kingdom. Is being royal the most powerful thing you can be? Is being a magical witch the most powerful thing you can be? And what about the people who are neither, who don't really have much obvious power at all? So those are my 4 reasons to be riveted by Ever Cursed, and I would love to hear what yours are. And I hope you pick up the book and check out this story, this new fairy tale. Thank you so much.